From his position as head of the Republican Guard, General Brice Oligui became Gabon's transitional president after taking part in the coup that toppled Ali Bongo Ondimba on August 30, 2023. Having taken control of the country, he is committed to leading a peaceful transition and re-establishing civilian rule. Under the leadership of the Committee for the Transition and Restoration of Institutions (CTRI), Gabon has embarked on a process of democratization designed to pave the way for a new political era.
De la restauration des institutions. Nous avons
To restore the institution, we set up a transition program, which we have respected. We held a national dialogue, we voted on the constitution, and we have an electoral code. What remains for us to do is to return to constitutional order. That's the elections. The most important thing is that they should be free, transparent, and peaceful.
Le plus important, c'est qu'elles soient libres, transparentes et apaisées.
After taking office as president of the transition in September 2023, General Brice Oligui quickly rejected the notion of a coup d'etat, preferring to describe it as a liberation coup. In April 2024, he launched an inclusive national dialogue to prepare for the transfer of power to civilians at the end of a 2-year transition. The process led to the adoption of a new constitution in November 2024, paving the way for the presidential election scheduled for April 12, 2025.
Nous avons réalisé ce coup de la libération pour vous.
We have achieved this course of liberation in order to restore your dignity. The time has come. On April 12, 2025, I ask you to go and vote.
2025, je vous demande d'aller voter.
Brice Oligui joined the Republican Guard under the reign of Omar Bongo. He trained in Morocco, where he joined the Royal Military Academy in Meknes. In 2019, at the time, a colonel who returned to Gabon and took over as head of the intelligence for the Republican Guard. In 2020, he will become commander-in-chief of this elite unit. If elected in the presidential election of April 12th, Brice Oligui 50 will be the 4th president to lead Gabon. Gabon is preparing for a decisive election on April 12, 2025, marking the end of the political transition 18 months after the fall of Ali Bongo. 8 candidatures have been validated, representing a broad political spectrum, including that of outgoing President Oligui, former Prime Minister Alain-Claude Billy-Binze, Alain Bougoueres, Axel Ibingat Seringoma, and Channing Nyinga, the only woman candidate. This election, which is the wish of many Gabonese, should restore legitimate civilian regime after months of military rules. The National Commission of the Organization and Coordination of Elections and Referendum is working hard to ensure the transparency of the electoral process. President Oligui knows full well that we are waiting for him. He prefers us to focus on the results of the elections rather than question the quality of the ballot. Gabon's electoral body, meticulously revised to eliminate past irregularities, is under increased scrutiny. This election is about much more than simply choosing a new president. It is a real test for the country's democracy and political stability. The future president will have to rise to the challenge if he is to ensure a successful end to the transition and avoid another political crisis. While the political challenges have already been overcome, with some progress on the social front, a new constitution and promises of a new Gabon, it remains to be noted that, despite this, he himself remains a man of the Seraglio. The electoral campaign for this election will run from March 29th to April 11th, 2025. The presidential election on April 12, 2025 will mark the end of the political transition in Gabon and the return to a legitimate civilian regime to guarantee a peaceful and successful transition. Economic diversification is a major challenge for the Gabonese authorities. Long dependent on oil, which still accounts for almost 38% of GDP and over 70% of exports, the Central African country intends to diversify its economy to ensure sustainable growth. Between political will, investment attractiveness, and the development of strategic sectors, the country has, according to the experts, cards to play to guarantee more inclusive and sustainable development. Many companies or traders engage in unfair competition or abuse their dominant position on the markets. That's why, in order to try and reduce his influence, which is in fact reprehensible, we have precisely that the Gabonese want this national preference. Rich in natural resources, Gabon has been engaged for several years in a strategy of economic diversification. Representing 3.2% of GDP and 6% of export in 2023, the forestry sector is one of the historical pillars of the Gabonese economy, accounting for some 17,000 direct and indirect jobs in the private sector. Similarly, the agricultural sector, which is still underexploited, could become a major lever for food self-sufficiency and exports. What the Gabonese people want today is to produce their own food. We've realized that food is a geostrategic element and we need to be able to say ourselves what we eat. It's a huge undertaking, but the political transition could provide an opportunity to reaffirm this ambition and breathe new life into the Gabonese economy. With Accra as its capital, the province of Estuary in Gabon is bordered to the north by Equatorial Guinea and to the northeast by Willem Ten. It covers an area of over 20,007 square kilometers and is the cradle of Gabon's history. Rich in flora and fauna, the Estuary region, whose coat of arms is represented by an azure triangle, is of great economic importance as a source of nutrition and a breeding ground for fish and shellfish. And every coat of arms, I will take the case of the province of Estuary. You have seen it, it's not stuffed with the Atlantic Oceans that base our beautiful province policy. With 65.5% of economic activity formal and 61.7% informal according to the General Census of Enterprises in 2023, the province of Estuary is considered by many experts to be the economic lung of Gabon. In fact, the region has a wealth in mining, hydrocarbon and fishing resources. Despite its assets, the estuary faces many challenges. It alone accounts for 53% of the region's housing needs, representing a shortfall of around 119,000 homes. We know the state of the alleyways and back streets in our neighborhoods, and that's why we thought it would be a good idea to retain the development of the alleyways. With a population of around 940,000 or 45.6% of Gabon's total population, Estuary province is also the seat of the country's institutions. With its diverse flora and fauna and idyllic beaches, the Gabon Estuary is one of the most beautiful lowlands in Africa.